In this video, I'm going to show you how to build step 5 main screen. So this is a step where we're going to demonstrate how to throw 3 balls continuously. So let's first go look at the storyboard. And I'll just go over here what we're going to build. So it's pretty much the same as what we built in step 4. It's going to be slightly different because instead of stopping after the third catch, they're going to continue to throw the ball. So we're going to insert these text boxes here. So it'll look like this, and the buttons and the avatar, and also this button on the top right, which we had in step 4, the Let's Break It Down screen, which is then going to let them practice seeing how the balls are thrown in sequence continuously. And then later I'll explain the lightbox slide, which will be basically copying a lot of stuff from the step 4 screen because it's almost going to be the same. We're just going to make it so that it's going to throw continuously, and we'll add one more sequence just to show them continuing to throw the ball. So I'll just read over the programming considerations here. Text appears on screen as the narration plays, which will be triggered by cue points in the timeline. Balls will follow arc animation paths to simulate throwing 3 balls without a pause after the third ball is thrown, i.e. continuous juggling. The sequence is shown 4 times in slide layer juggling animation. So we'll be doing that in another video. And then the Let's Break It Down button is triggered when clicked to lightbox a slide, which will be called step 5, Let's Break It Down. In the lightbox slide, buttons can be clicked to trigger the balls to move from one hand to the other to show the juggling throwing sequence more slowly. The learner can repeat this slide as much as they like to help them internalize the process. So let's now go back to the storyline slide here, and we're going to insert the title. I'm just going to delete this text box here because we don't need it. And I'm going to insert the title, which will be Step 5, 3 Balls Continuous. And I'm just going to bold that and change the color of the text to the blue color that I've been using. There we go. So just to reiterate on what continuous means, so that just means that instead of showing the ball animation sequence stopping after the third catch, we're going to continue to show that juggling process. So we're going to be basically doing what we did in step 4, but we're going to be changing the timing slightly so that it will look like the balls are being thrown continuously. So let's go back to step 4, and we're going to copy in the avatar and these buttons here to go from one step to another. And I'm just going to paste those in. And I'm going to change the step 4 button here. I'm going to change the state so that it will go back to the pink color. So I'll change that to normal state. And then I'll change step 5 button state to selected. There we go. Now let's go back to the storyboard and copy in the text that we need to appear in the top left-hand corner. Okay, so now I'm going to separate those text boxes like I have before, but before I do that, let's make sure these bullets are going to show up white. So go to bullets and numbering here and just make sure this color is white. Okay. And now I will separate them out one at a time, making sure that this one will be text box 1, so the first one, and then this will be text box 2, so I'll take that one next, then 3, and then 4. Okay, there we go. Now let's just verify the text box locations here. So we've done this in all the other ones. So right click, go to size and position. And this first one, we're going to go to position here. We're going to set it at 24 and 60. So 24 horizontal and 60 vertical. And the next one will be at 24 and 82. And the third one will be at 24 and 104. And the last one, 24 and 126. Now let's go down to the timeline. I'm just going to bring that up a bit, and we'll just make sure that these are all extending out and they're labeled properly. So text box 1, that's the first one, 2, 3, 4, and they all go out to about 15 seconds. So we'll leave that like that for now. And now let's create the arbitrary cue points we need for each of these text boxes that we'll set properly once we record the audio. So I'm just going to go and make them now in the timeline. So remember, you can hit C on your keyboard or right click to create the cue point. Okay, so I've created my 4 cue points, and we will come back to these later to set them properly at the proper time that they need to be at. But we're going to now create triggers for them as well. But before we do that, let's just make sure that each of these text boxes, the initial state is set to hidden, because we don't want them to show up until the cue point. So they have to be hidden on the screen at first. So set the initial state of the first one here to hidden. And for the second one, set it to hidden. And the third one here, hidden. And the fourth one, hidden. So these should all now be in the hidden state. There we go. So now let's go back to the timeline here, and now let's go create the triggers for each of these text boxes. So go up here to create trigger. We're going to change the state of text box 1 to normal when the timeline reaches cue point 1. And then set another trigger. Change the state of text box 2 to normal when the timeline reaches cue point 2. And then third trigger here, change the state of text box 3 to normal when the timeline reaches cue point 3. And last one, change the state of text box 4 to normal when the timeline reaches cue point 4. All right, so we're almost done here. Now let's go back to step 4. And we're going to copy this Let's Break It Down button, because we're going to have a similar thing on step 5. And just paste that in. And let's just go over to the right now. Just verify our buttons are correct here. So they should be, because we've copied them from every step. So we have button 1 goes to position yourself, step 1. Button 2 goes to 1 ball. Button 3, 2 balls. Button 4 goes to step 4, 3 balls, not continuous. And button 5, which we're on, is 3 balls continuous. And then we have button 6, which we'll adjust in another video. So right now it's set to go to step 4, let's break it down. But we will create another Lightbox slide called step 5, let's break it down. Then we'll link this button to that instead. But we can just leave it like this for now. And now let's set the play triggers. So the next slide we want to go to when the learner clicks the next button is knowledge check 1. And the previous slide will be step 4. 3 balls, not continuous. So in the next video, I'm going to show you how to create the slide layer to show the juggling sequence to show 3 balls being thrown continuously.